Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about why you wake up at 3 a.m. in perimenopause. And this is for the woman who's dealing with poor sleep and chronic fatigue. Let's get right into it. Here's what you're going to learn: why your sleep is getting affected in perimenopause, the hormones that actually are responsible for your 3 a.m. wake ups. It's not just a coincidence. There's a reason why so many women in perimenopause are struggling with their sleep, and it's all around the same time between 2 to 4 a.m. So, why you're having trouble falling and staying asleep, we're also going to uncover what happens to the body when sleep gets affected, because as we know, other symptoms start to creep up. And you're going to receive at the end 3 sleep hacks to achieve deep, restful sleep. So, who this is for and who it isn't for, this is for you if you feel chronically tired, right? If you're waking up every day and you're going through life with brain fog, operating at maybe 40% of your capacity, then you need to watch this. This is for you if you're waking up constantly in the middle of the night. If you're noticing other perimenopause symptoms creeping on, this could be the root cause of why other symptoms are starting to come on and getting worse and worse. It's also for you if you're a lack of sleep. It's hindering your performance at work, at home, in your social life, whatever that may be. Like I said, if you're operating at 50% of your capacity and trying to fill other cups from half a cup or a nearly empty cup, it's going to be pretty difficult. It's also for you if you want to achieve deep, consistent, restorative sleep. And that's what we're going to uncover and discuss here today. And my big promise to you is that in the next 25 minutes, we're going to solve this problem once and for all. Why your sleep is being affected. We're going to discuss this from like a scientific perspective. So you're not just doing the guesswork anymore and trying this supplement, trying this, the next thing. You're actually going to have tangible solutions that you can use. We're also going to understand which 2 hormones are likely culprits for your nightly wake ups. And we're going to uncover those 2 foundational hormones. We're also going to uncover why you are struggling to fall asleep in the first place and then stay asleep. Okay. And why your lack of sleep is causing a ripple effect to your other symptoms. So when we deal with this, I guarantee that 99% of your other symptoms are all going to get so much better, if not disappear entirely. Okay, so this is a root cause for so many things. I always say sleep is the foundation. And you're going to walk away, like I said, with 3 sleep hacks to achieve deep restorative sleep every single night. So, why I've put this training together for you today, and this is my plan, is firstly because sleep is the foundation of your health. When you're not sleeping well, you can't operate well. Your body cannot do the main processes it needs to do in order for you to properly go about your day, right? So I have also worked with so many women in midlife who are battling chronic fatigue and poor sleep. This is just the unfortunate reality is when we enter perimenopause, this starts to happen. And this is the main thing women come to me with. Yes, they also come to me with weight loss and other perimenopause symptoms, but the root cause is often this, which is why I wanted to create a video on it. I've helped every single client of mine restore good quality sleeping patterns. Every person that's worked with me has left having achieved 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night, where they're able to sleep the entire night and they feel rested, energized for their days. I'm so proud of every single one of my clients for applying the stuff. I also know what it feels like myself to feel tired but wired. It's not a good feeling. Then you just feed into this vicious cycle where every night your body is exhausted and your mind just keeps running and you don't know how to switch it off and to go to sleep. This is a huge problem in and of itself. And when you're achieving consistent restful nights, firstly, you feel so different. Like it's so different when you're operating at peak energy, your whole life changes, not to mention your other symptoms. But you also allow your body to properly recover. It's a huge one. Recovery is important. If you're not recovering, you're not going to regulate your hormones, right? You're not going to detox effectively. And detox is a huge thing also for hormone regulation, for your longevity, for inflammation, for all these other things. When we work on sleep, we're literally hitting not just 2 birds with one stone, but we're hitting all the birds with one stone. So if you stay towards the end, you're going to have the opportunity to get my 5-day perimenopause reset plan. This is huge for reset, doing like a full lifestyle reset. So I highly recommend this. There's also a lot of nervous system regulation tools in there if you're dealing with chronic high cortisol, where if you're watching this video, this is like a forward flashing, you probably are dealing with chronic high cortisol. Also, the hormone cheat sheet, it will teach you about 5 huge educational hormones, which we're also going to talk about today with hacks on how to basically hack each and every hormone. So I absolutely love this. It's like a great just like cheat sheet to basically skip you ahead to the finish line. It's an elevated in 10 workout series, so 2 strength training workouts with me to boost your metabolism. You also get my From Fatigue to Freedom video series, teaching you how to reclaim your energy, burn fat, boost your metabolism, and create natural hormone harmony. And you can also get the chance to work with me one-on-one, basically through a complimentary midlife optimization session where you'll walk away with a blueprint valued at $800. So it's an incredible resource to have as well. Who the heck am I, right? Like, why should you listen to me? I used to be a former 2-time world champion Latin dancer. During that time, I was also getting my degree in marketing. I was teaching, I was traveling around the world competing, I was training. I definitely know what it's like to juggle so many hats at once, right? And definitely was not caring for my sleep. I would just pass out from exhaustion. And I was definitely undersleeping, underfueling my body. I definitely know what it's like to have been in your shoes. And then I transitioned into the holistic health world. I became certified by the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and my MT. I'm a certified menopause health coach. I'm also the founder of my company. This isn't a diet where we help women basically get back to their 25-year-old bodies and restore hormonal balance in 45 days. Yes, it's possible to do in 45 days. I'm also the best-selling author of my book, Read This When You're Done Dieting, and podcast host of Listen to This When You're Done Dieting. There's over 90 episodes in there with so much amazing information. So highly recommend. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything. So the biggest problem that you currently face right now is that you're battling chronic fatigue, right? You wouldn't be here if you weren't, and you're unable to stay asleep at night because firstly, here we go. These are the 2 hormones we're going to talk about a lot. Your insulin and cortisol levels are imbalanced. Okay. So this is causing those wake ups. Number 2, you are facing declining progesterone. And this is your calm and your deep sleep hormone. This is another key hormone that we're going to talk about because it also influences your GABA production. And then number 3, you might not be properly supporting your sleep and melatonin production. This is more coming from a habits perspective, how you're preparing for bed, the amount of artificial light you're allowing in. So a lot of these we're going to talk about. And on top of all of these things, you're operating in a sleep deficit and you're juggling one of the most difficult hormonal transitions at the same time. I absolutely feel for you. This is a huge, it's such a big life disruptor. And when you're not sleeping well, it's this vicious cycle and this like domino effect of the next thing and the next symptom and it just gets increasingly difficult. So I want to help you restore your sleep today. The underlying pain that and frustration that this causes in your life is firstly that chronic fatigue and a lack of recovery. You're always going to be basically pouring from an empty cup if we don't get in control of this. But we're going to do that today. So there's no need to panic. You're also going to be worsening your perimenopause symptoms if we don't get in control of this. So those hot flashes you're experiencing, the irregular, infrequent cycles you're experiencing, you might basically enter menopause earlier than you should. You might still have viable eggs because you've just created all of these hormonal imbalances because of the deep sleep, because of not achieving deep sleep. And I'm not saying this to blame, like I've been through periods myself where my sleep has been horrible, but I know how to hack it back. And all of my clients do as well. So we're going to teach you all of those things. And then that declining performance or brain fog or worsened anxiety or mood, this impacts your work life, your home life, and your social life. Your health is your wealth. And sleep is the foundation of all of that. So we're really going and jumping straight ahead to the root cause. And this is such an impactful video. So, when you go through life and your brain is foggy and I've heard so many funny stories from my clients. Like one of my clients had so much brain fog, she was preparing dinner and she microwaved her salad, as an example. Or another one was looking for her phone for an hour and realized it was in her hand. Silly things like this that shouldn't be happening, but are because of the lack of sleep. So this is what you want, right? Like look at her. She looks so calm and peaceful and sleeping. I'm going to show you how to achieve that today. How would it feel to go to bed tonight? And I'm saying as early as tonight and get 8+ hours of quality uninterrupted sleep. For those of you that are really sleep deficient, like I can imagine you like salivating at the mouth. Like I know I have been through periods like this where I'm like, that sounds incredible. And, it's just, it doesn't seem possible. It absolutely is. Like, we can get you there tonight, no problem. How would you be able to go about your day differently when your body is fully recovered? When you're operating from a full cup? Imagine that. Okay, just I'm not even going to add anything to that. Just imagine that, how different your life would look and the output that you would be able to provide people because your input to yourself is so much better and the quality is so much better. So this is the path that you need to get to these results. We're going to firstly get into the science why sleep gets affected in perimenopause. Okay, this is a little bit of an overview. Declining melatonin production is a huge one. It just happens as we age, and it's also worsened by artificial light, stress, and hormone fluctuations. Okay, so we basically follow a circadian rhythm. Yeah, you might have heard about this. It's a 24-hour rhythm where basically when you wake up, cortisol should be high in the morning. It peaks 2 hours after you wake up. And when your body starts to pump out that cortisol, it shuts off melatonin from the night before. Melatonin is that hormone that your brain produces basically to tell your body, okay, it's time to go to sleep. So cortisol shuts that off in the morning, and you should have declining cortisol throughout the rest of your day. So that way, when it starts to get dark outside, you should naturally be starting to what we call wind down. You should be feeling more tired. You don't need more caffeine to wake yourself up at 5 or 7 p.m. or whatever that is. You should actually, it's normal to feel tired during that time because your melatonin is, your body is slowly starting to produce that to tell your body, okay, it's time to go to sleep. So nervous system overload is another one. This coincides with racing thoughts. I don't know if you've been there. I certainly have, where you're laying in bed, you're tired, you want to go to sleep, and you know, okay, I need to go to sleep at this time, otherwise I'm not going to get enough sleep. But your brain just keeps thinking of your to-do list of what you have to do at work, of all the things that you forgot to do today or that you feel like you're going to forget to do tomorrow. This is a huge one. And that coincides with just feeling wired but tired, and that leads to those 3 a.m. wake ups. You might also have fluctuating estrogen and declining progesterone. This is going to be another huge thing that we're going to get into very soon. Again, I'm just forefronting some of the information. Blood sugar instability is another huge thing we're going to talk about, which is causing those nighttime wake ups, especially if you have a nutrition plan that's very carbohydrate focused. Women, we also need 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night. So that's the quantity we need, but we need quality sleep. If you have a wearable, by the way, something like this, which I'm wearing, which is an Apple Watch, or if you have an Aura ring or a Fitbit or something that also tracks your sleep, that is great. So that way you can see how long am I actually getting into deep sleep? How long am I actually operating in my REM sleep where I'm in my dream state? How long am I in like core or just regular or lighter sleep? We can track all these things because when you measure it, you can change it. And that quality sleep is important to properly detox. Your body goes through that hormone filtration, that toxin filtration. Your body's recovering from the past day. It's synthesizing protein. It's regulating your hormones. It's properly digesting and basically resetting for the next day. And it's important for maintaining a parasympathetic state. So nowadays, many of us, as we go about our days, we're operating in what we call a chronic stress state, our sympathetic nervous system. And we go, of course, we still go through periods where we're in our rest and digest, our parasympathetic state throughout the day, but not enough. Typically, this is for the average woman. And so your parasympathetic state is when you're sleeping, it's an uninterrupted process of being in your parasympathetic state. And we need to keep that for the health of your whole body. Okay. So When your sleep gets disrupted, it causes this cascade of worsened symptoms. Also, it increases your weight gain, right? Because when we're operating from a place of less sleep, we have more cravings. Our ghrelin, our hunger, and like our leptin, basically, which is your hunger and your full hormones, they're not regulated. So your body doesn't know when it's hungry, when it's full. You'll have more cravings. And studies have shown that when we're sleep deprived, we make worse food decisions as well. So this causes, again, more weight gain and poor performance because we're not recovered and our brains cannot operate at peak capacity. So the hormones that actually are responsible for the 3 a.m. wake ups, number one is cortisol. This is going to be the first thing that we're going to talk about because I see this the most, and I would say this is probably the one that is the most likely culprit for every single woman. Like I said, your cortisol should be high in the morning following a circadian rhythm, and it should slowly, slowly decline throughout your day, should be lower at night. For many women, this is actually inverted. So they're waking up, or maybe you're waking up and you're feeling really low. You're still having that full melatonin and your body is not fully awake yet. And then you get what we call like the second wind later at night. You spike your cortisol again. This can be if you have caffeine too late in the night, if you do like a really hard workout late in the night and you basically cause cortisol to come in through your sleep. It can be if you're working too late in the evening and you're pumping cortisol. Again, things like this and not following like a circadian rhythm to your day, this can disrupt your sleep. And this leads to 3 a.m. wake ups, those racing thoughts we talked about, and light fragmented sleep. So even if you do fall asleep, but you're in a chronic stress state, whenever that cortisol is going to come back on, you're going to wake up and you're going to have trouble falling back asleep. And this is why you see these wake and sleep patterns and that fragmented sleep we've been talking about. Now, the other culprit is blood sugar instability, aka insulin. So, insulin is the other hormone we're going to be talking about, and it's another likely culprit for your 3 a.m. wake ups. But newsflash, it's also connected with cortisol. So, the reason is when blood sugar drops too low overnight, the body releases cortisol, right? Like your body is panicking. It's like, ah, we need energy to do all the things we need to do while we're sleeping, and adrenaline as well, and this causes you to wake up suddenly. Now, your blood sugar and your glucose levels, the glucose being the sugar that you're intaking, this should be relatively stable. So, like a good glucose graph should be more or less stable. And if you're having too many sugars, too many carbohydrates, if your macro proportions are basically off, then we can be causing these frequent blood sugar rises and drops. And then, for example, if you finish off your last meal being very carbohydrate dominant, then you're going to experience a huge uptake. And then in the middle of the night, you're going to crash your blood sugar, especially if there aren't enough healthy proteins and fats to keep that glucose steady. So, what typically tends to happen, then you wake up in the middle of the night, right? So, many women, they can confuse this response for anxiety, but often it's metabolic, right? Because you wake up and then you have this cortisol like this, oh, I woke up and I need some blood sugar, and it's this panic. It's actually a metabolic issue and not an anxiety issue. And these two foundational hormones can be easily corrected. It's actually nutrition stuff, timing, circadian timing. Yeah, just a lot of lifestyle and also supplementation support. You're going to get those in the 3 tips that are coming soon. So stay with me. Why you're having trouble falling and staying asleep, we're going to take a closer look at your sex hormones now, because estrogen fluctuates as we enter perimenopause. This causes a cascade of the classic symptoms we see. So basically, especially in early perimenopause, your estrogen goes a bit erratic. Okay, so you'll have months where it's much higher and months where it's much lower. And that depends again on your cycle, your age, your lifestyle, a lot of different factors. But high estrogen has been shown to be tied to thyroid problems like night flashes, hot sweats. And I'm just going to use those two as an example because I see a lot of women come to me where they have a hot flash and they get the night sweats in the middle of the night while they're sleeping, and they wake up drenched in sweat and then they can't go back to sleep, right? So that's another example of where estrogen would come into play. And this not only for those reasons, but they also impact your melatonin production. And so your ability to make that melatonin, your serotonin levels. Now, serotonin is an important hormone which keeps you calm. This is not just your happiness hormone, it's also what keeps you calm. Your body temperature regulation, which we just spoke about. When you have chronically high estrogen, your thyroid gets impacted. Your thyroid is responsible for maintaining your body's temperature, and it cannot do that if estrogen is too high. Your body will always operate in equilibrium and it will raise when certain hormones are too high, it will lower others. And then also your REM quality, so the quality of the REM sleep that you're obtaining. And not to mention, like we just talked about, this equilibrium. When estrogen is high, progesterone declines, it goes low because your body wants to maintain some form of balance. And progesterone is so important because it is your calm and your deep sleep hormone. You might find in your cycling years that when you're in the second half of your cycle, your luteal and menstruation phases, when progesterone is higher or it should be higher, you're sleeping much better. You're having more deep, restful sleep, right? And that's because of progesterone. And progesterone, like I mentioned before, it influences GABA. GABA is the brain's relaxation neurotransmitter. This helps women fall into deeper states of sleep, right? Like you can track that on your wearable, and it helps them stay asleep throughout the night. When you're having light fragmented sleep, you're not actually entering those deeper layers of sleep where your body does its deep repair work. When you're having light sleep, your body, you're even if you get 8 hours of light sleep, you're still going to wake up feeling tired because you're not getting that quality of the deep and REM in there. Declining progesterone, it can lead to those 2 to 4 a.m. pesky wake ups. So this is another key hormone for that. And then we also help support women's sex hormone production. So with balancing the estrogen to progesterone to testosterone ratios through cycle syncing their foods and workouts, the results have been absolutely phenomenal, not just with their sleep, but with their weight, with basically reducing and eliminating perimenopause symptoms, and also with elongating their cycling years. So we delay menopause and we add quality, longevity to their life. So cycle syncing is something we really go deep into. I'm going to give you 3 hacks for deep restorative sleep. So firstly, very simple to do. Set a wind down routine 1 hour before bed. And this 1 hour is imperative. When I say a wind down routine, I mean, firstly, switch off your devices because that blue light that's coming in is it's disrupting that melatonin production and it's blocking it. That's also why I included here where it says use blue light blocking glasses. You can buy them very cheap on Amazon. Of course, you can get more expert ones which fully block blue light. They do tend to go up in price, but have something in order to basically protect that blue light from coming in. You can also on your phone, if you need to be on your devices, you can switch to dark mode. And on your phone, there are apps that you can use where you can switch it to red light. Red light does not operate the same as blue light. That's a much better one. You can also, if you are really an advanced biohacker, you could go and put in circadian lighting throughout your home where it will naturally dim as you go throughout your day. But I highly advise that you do something that doesn't involve a device or like much light. So, for example, reading is a great practice before bed. Meditation, doing like a body scan, EFT tapping, doing your affirmations, journaling, whatever it may be, set aside some time for yourself that doesn't involve the devices. Okay, so this is a great a lifestyle practice. Now, you can also, again, another great biohack is to have a bulletproof tea 1 hour before bed. This is a tea that has so many good healthy fats in there, which also basically you're going to see that there's some MCT oil in this. And those ketones, they'll go straight to your liver. It will help detox your brain while you're sleeping as well. It will help influence and basically help you stay asleep throughout the whole night and maintain your blood sugar levels. So what you need to do, you need to blend, not stir. You need to make sure those fats are emulsified in the drink. 1 tablespoon of organic grass-fed butter has to be organic grass-fed, or you can opt for ghee. And then 1 tablespoon of MCT oil. And you can use like a chamomile tea, like a nighttime valerian tea. You can use like skull cap. There are so many great like nighttime teas, herbal teas. Whatever you do, just make sure it's a herbal tea. And then number three is to incorporate progesterone boosting foods regularly into your diet. So that you'll see with the foods that I'm going to talk about here, they're all for basically inflating the minerals and vitamin intake that you get so that way your body can create progesterone. So for example, shellfish and oysters so high in zinc and copper, which your body needs to create progesterone. Beef, lamb, and pork, so good for iron, your B vitamins. Cruciferous vegetables, so awesome at detoxing estrogen. When we're talking about having tropical fruits like bananas, mangoes, these types of things, root vegetables like carrots, citrus fruits, those give your liver enough sugar to convert hormones. Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, again, so good for essential minerals and vitamins that your body needs. Dark chocolate is so rich in magnesium. Leafy greens is another awesome one for that iron, for those minerals and vitamins that we need. Okay, so you can really just take a screenshot of this and try and get more of these foods into your diet. When I'm talking about dark chocolate, by the way, it has to be 70% and up. Otherwise, it's just too much sugar. You want to make sure you're getting enough of that cacao in there. Now, what you can do as a bonus is take a magnesium glycinate supplement 15 minutes before bed. This basically helps relax and calm down your body and your muscles. And I say 15 minutes before bed because that's the sweet spot before it basically hits your system and you're feeling, a lot calmer and can fall asleep easier. Okay, so what I want you to do next is check out the perimenopause belly fat blueprint video next. This is an amazing video if you're dealing with belly fat. Also, even for just understanding what's happening to your body hormonally as you go through perimenopause, it's an amazing video. It's going to be linked in the bio below. And I can't wait for you guys to see that next video. You can scroll through the whole playlist and learn so much more about what's happening to your body in perimenopause. See you in the next video.